All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Historian Reacts. Uh, I'm recording this episode right after the previous one, so I'm ready to jump right back into things. Again, we were right outside this fort where I believe we just initially freed a group of what we found out were Mohawk people. Um, travel to the frontier. Okay, let's do it. Um, So it's interesting that they call it the frontier. I understand why they do that because that's what a lot of what people would have called it this time, or back country. But remember that the frontier that we're calling it is not unoccupied. There are people living there, notably, as they mentioned, the Mohawk. There would have been in this area, I believe, at this time, you could have encountered the Oneida peoples, as well, other Iroquois nations. So this is not any, by stretch of the imagination, uninhabited land. This is a beautiful scene right here in Vista. I've always wanted to visit colonial New England during like October and late winter. So again, actually, they do a good job here of showing what seems to be an indigenous person walking through the area, so they show that it's inhabited. Also, the English have been pushing westward pretty intensely for the past century. Really in the south, but also as well in the north, as they tried to get more land. And oftentimes that pushing westward was done via wars with indigenous peoples. And also, those wars with indigenous peoples were often fought alongside the rivals of those indigenous peoples. So, again, it's a very kind of war-torn area in a lot of ways. This definitely, like, this kind of peaceful vista belies the kind of, like, violence that a lot of this settlement was predicated upon, right? Okay, so we're heading to Lexington, and I believe it is, like, Lexington is in Lexington and Concord in Massachusetts, the famous battle, which we are at this point about 20 years away from. So, again, it is a ways away. Okay, I think I need to go this way. All right, so this must be the house. All right, that looks to be Charles Lee. By the way, Charles Lee is a real founding father. I know very little about him, if I'm being honest with you, but I imagine this representation is probably not the most generous for him. Right now, he seems to be fine, but I remember him being kind of the villain in this story.
Have you found her?
She's made camp not too far from here.
Excellent. Well, the sooner we're done, the sooner we can get out of this cold.
Oh boy, okay.
I'm afraid I have some bad news, sir.
Oh?
Braddock is insisting I return to service under him. I've tried to beg off, to no avail.
No doubt he's still angry about losing Pitcairn. To say nothing of the shaming we gave him.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt here. He's saying that Braddock is wanting him back in service, and we saw Charles Lee, this guy, notably take up some, like, mud and muck and throw it on Braddock. Not only his commanding officer, but, like, commanding officer of, like, the British forces in colonial British America. You don't recover from that, really, as a junior officer. That's your career, and possibly it could be, your life. Like, attacking a superior officer is, generally speaking, something that you can be put to death for. Now, obviously, we know Charles Lee isn't put to death, and I don't imagine this happened historically, that he attacked Braddock. But I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But I imagine if you would ever do that, generally speaking, you would be subject to severe censure. Your career in the military would be over.
Do as he asks.
But
In
so
the
this is
meantime,
all
I'll
very
work on having
interesting.
you released.
I'm sorry for the trouble.
Now then
Not your
again,
fault.
this Charles Lee is a member of, like, a secret order of killers, apparently. So, like, maybe that changes Braddock's calculations a bit in this game. But still, I find it very funny. I do like how the horses leave trails in the snow. That's very cool. That's interesting.
We're too late.
Fire's only just been snuffed. Snow recently disturbed. She's close.
How do they know this is her, though? They just found how could it not be somebody else camping in the area? I missed that part.
Bollocks.
The tracks are fresh. It must be hers. Seems she took to higher ground. Out of the snow and into the trees.
Okay. So probably need to go this way. This is kind. Can I climb up the ivy here? Okay. Right. There's tracks here. So he looks to be setting up like a rabbit trap.
Wait here. Oh, damn it. Wait! Come back! Do you return to Braddock, Charles, before he grows suspicious? I can handle things from here.
But sir!
But nothing. Go. Stop running. I only wish to talk. I am not your enemy.
I do find it odd that, like,
Please
I don't
just
know,
hear
that
me
she's
out.
running through the trees. Like,
Godswoman, only let me speak.
it's just a strange choice.
Enough.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So wolves present colonial New England for sure. Actually, they probably would have been even more present because notoriously, animals like this normally actually do well or like become more populous during wartime in colonial America, or not just colonial America, in the United States. I have a colleague, Jeremy Nelson, shout out to him, who is doing work on basically the ways in which the environment of the United States kind of has this resurgence of wolf and other kind of livestock, like populations, not livestock, excuse me, like wild animal populations kind of resurge as a result of warfare, because as war is taking place, people aren't farming. And as they're not farming, more wildlife moves in, and then predators move in. So actually, I mean, there's a lot of wolves that are attacking even after some gunshots have been fired. That's probably not realistic, but like, again, like there would have probably been maybe a few more wolves than normal during the 7 Years' War. So, okay, what do I need to do here? Okay. Okay, so I need to look for a track, I guess, right? Oh, wait, hold on. That seems to be something. Oh, wait, up there. Okay. How do I get up there, though?
You try my patience, woman.
These wolves are suicidal. Like, my gosh. They're pack creatures. Once one of them goes down, that's kind of, as I understand it, that most of them are probably going to scatter. Like, wolves aren't really going to try to, quote-unquote, solo you unless they are really starving. In which case, they'll probably eat each other before they try to just attack a creature that's bigger than them by themselves.
Are you touched in the head?
Me, Hatham. I come in peace.
Why are you speaking so slow?
It's funny.
Sorry.
What do you want?
Well, your name, for one.
I'm Gadzit Zio.
Well, pleased to meet you. God's day.
Just call me Zio.
Dio.
Zio.
Dio.
Now tell me why it is you're here. Where did you get this?
From an old friend.
I've only seen such markings in one other place.
Where?
Well, it is forbidden for me to speak of it.
I saved your people. Does this mean nothing to you? Look, I am not the enemy.
Close to here, there is a hill. Meet me there, and we'll see if you speak the truth.
I don't know why they didn't just carry through that
That town
cutscene.
hosts soldiers who seek to drive my people from these lands. They're led by a man known as the Bulldog.
Edward Braddock.
You know him?
He is no friend of mine.
Every day, more of my people are lost to men like him.
I am almost
suggest we
certain
put a stop
that the
to it.
Mohawk were allied with the
Together.
English during the 7 Years' War.
What do you
I'm very
propose?
confused by this. I'm gonna have to Google this
we
real
kill
quick,
Edward
y'all.
Braddock.
I don't like to do this, but I am gonna check up on this.
But first, we have to find him.
What am I saying? Sorry, y'all. I'm quickly looking up to see if the Mohawks. This will have to be something I delve into in between episodes. But so it's important to say real quick that like Braddock did like obviously fight and oh, do I need to I need to do a leap of faith. Oh boy, I'm about to be late. Oh gosh. Braddock, of course, and like British forces,
I don't trust
committed
you.
numerous atrocities against
I
like
know.
indigenous peoples
Yet you
because
remain.
they were fighting
might
numerous
prove you
indigenous
wrong.
peoples along with the French.
It will not happen.
So I don't mean
So
to
you
make
say.
this sound that like I'm excusing it.
So
It's
I
just
know.
that
Yes.
it is true. I don't think
I
it was the
remain.
Mohawk people exactly. Could be wrong about that though. I could have my facts wrong. I'll delve into that actually in between here. But generally speaking, during the French and Indian War or the 7 Years' War, the Algonquian-speaking peoples allied with the French, and the Iroquois Confederacy, generally speaking, allied with the British. And if I'm remembering right, the Mohawk were part of the Iroquois. So, and
Wait here.
when we get to the Revolution, the
A
Iroquois
Mohawk
Confederacy
might
actually kind of like
raise
splits.
suspicions,
Um,
if not muskets.
It almost
This
becomes
is
kind of
hardly
like a
the
civil
first
war.
time I've been amongst your people. I can handle myself.
I hope so.
Stand being quartered there.
Oh.
The end.
Oh, that was I thought I was supposed to chat with him. That was supposed to eavesdrop. I didn't know that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, let me figure out a way to be stealthy here.
Stand being quartered there. The endless crashing of the waves. The sting of the salt in my eyes. And the goddamn gulls shrieking and shitting everywhere.
You're sure that's where we're going?
Aye. The Bulldog's putting together another expedition.
That's what they're calling them now. Expeditions.
Aye. Smart too. Slap a fancy name on something and all evil is excused.
I hear tell the French are readying to move on our positions. Wonder what Braddock intends to do about it.
He's already left for the advance camp. I'll wager our little holiday here is just about ended. We'll be marching south before week's end.
You know, it's interesting. It said that we're on the quote-unquote frontier. Where are we actually? Okay. Looks like it's supposed to be the interior of Massachusetts here. Or at least the interior of New England in some capacity. Oh, Lexington. That's what they said. Right. Okay, it's supposed to be Lexington.
Oi! Where you going, Cully?
Me?
No, the other cock Robin.
Well,
Interesting insults
I
that they
was
pulled out of
eating.
the historical record here.
Oh? And now?
Well, now... I'm going to feed you your teeth.
And you were worried I was going to be the problem?
Okay. All right. Boom. I think he just broke that guy's neck, so this is a little bit more than a bar fight, it seems.
You're hurt.
Oh, it's nothing.
Here. This should stop the bleeding.
That wasn't necessary. But thank you.
We should move on. Meet me at Braddock's camp when you're ready.
Okay. So, as this is kind of showing, colonial New England winters are incredibly harsh, famously. But despite that harshness, most folks who in early colonial New England were able to survive relatively well. We talked about this a bit in my U.S. history class, but in the colonial southern colonies, there's widespread death, disease, largely due to what we would now call like vector-borne illnesses, things, mosquitoes are spreading, along with all manner of other quote-unquote tropical diseases. New England didn't suffer from those. Additionally, New England was populated early on by families, and so there are a lot of small farms that were setting up. So generally speaking, although it is very harsh winters, it was very livable for folks. Let's see here. How do I... Can I just tell... I don't understand, like, where it has, like, this huge map, and it's like, why would I don't want to be mean here, but, like, why would I want to explore, given that it's just kind of empty wilderness at this point? Sorry, it's not really, it's not historically empty wilderness, but my point is, I always think about stuff like Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, where, like, traveling was kind of more engaging. I'm not really sure. I feel like the traveling between point A and point B in this is just kind of padding the game in some ways. Remember the first Assassin's Creed, for those of you who've ever played it, was very similar. You would have a... You'd go do an assassination, and they'd send you to a new city. And then you'd have to travel there, and it would take a long time. And there really would be, like, just nothing in between. Just, like, some random obstacles and stuff. But it would not really move your, like, story forward at all. And this is kind of reminding me of that a little bit, if I'm being honest. Assassin's Creed 2 and 2, Brotherhood, and I think Revelations, too, did a good job of, they were confined to normally cities or several cities, and so traversing was always kind of the classic Assassin's Creed, jumping through rooftops. The horses here don't, let's just say they don't control very well, in my opinion. Okay, I don't think I needed to actually cross this river here. Okay, can I actually... Okay, nope. I made a mistake. Okay. Alright, looks like we're coming up on the fort. I forgot how long this, like, quote-unquote prologue is to this game. I don't know if you could call this a prologue, where, like, it's a good chunk of the game.
Use the snowstorm to mask your approach. Having second thoughts?
Hardly. But I'll have to approach this carefully.
Go on then. I'll keep watch from here.
I can hide in that cart.
If you can get there in time, come on. Come on. Come on. Wait, why didn't I? There we go.
What's in the wagon? I need a full inventory.
As you wish. Let's see. 2 barrels of salt, 12 pounds pork, 10 pounds beef, 7 dozen eggs, 16 wheels of cheese. None of it French, don't worry. 5 bottles of whiskey, couple dozen new uniforms, boots, leather for patching, blankets, a cart of feed for the horses. What else? That's it? That's all there is?
Those cannons are like to cause trouble. Perhaps I could sabotage them.
Okay, sabotage cannons. All right. I feel like there's a. Okay. Oh, didn't mean to do that.
Good news. General Braddock refused the offer. There will be no truce. Damn it! Why, George? What reason did he give?
Oh, is that supposed to
He
be
said a
George
diplomatic
Washington? Oh, it
solution was
is.
no solution at all. That allowing the French to retreat would only delay an inevitable conflict, one in which they'd now have the upper hand.
Wait, that's so this implied that George Washington was frustrated that Braddock wouldn't consider diplomacy, which is rich, because George Washington famously kind of ignites the French and Indian War, aka 7 Years' War, by killing a diplomat. To be fair to Washington, it was a scouting party, and the Ensign de Jumonville, I think I'm saying that right, Washington
There's merit to those words.
ends up like
As much as I hate to admit it.
Washington kills him, and
Doesn't sit well with me either. We're far from home with our forces divided. Worse, I fear Braddock's bloodlust makes him careless.
again,
It puts them in a
this is George Washington
not be delivering grim news to mothers and widows
critiquing
because the bulldog
Braddock for being bloodlust. Like,
Where's the general now? Rallying
Washington didn't really have a reputation for cruelty necessarily, but
the march north
he definitely,
copy of the plans in the command tent should you
how do I
wish
put
to
this?
review them. At least this will be ended soon. I tried, Joe.
Oh, there we go. That'll do it. I should have tried to run away. But yeah, so George Washington there is calling Braddock, like, you know, crazy with bloodlust, like doesn't want to
Those
consider
cannons are
diplomacy,
like to cause
and those are the exact reasons that Washington kind of ignites the French and Indian War to begin with.
Perhaps I
Just a
could
year prior to
sabotage
this,
them.
by the way. Maybe less than a year. This 1755. Yeah, almost like less than a year prior than this, I believe. So.
Tell me your good news. General Braddock refused the offer. There will be no truce. Damn it! Why, George? What reason did he give? He said a diplomatic solution was no solution at all. That allowing the French to retreat would only delay an inevitable conflict, one in which they'd now have the upper hand.
There's merit to those words, as much as I hate to admit it. Still, can't he see this is unwise?
It doesn't sit well with me either. We're far from home with our forces divided. Worse, I fear Braddock's bloodlust makes him careless. It puts the men at risk. I'd rather not be delivering grim news to mothers and widows because the bulldog wanted to prove a point.
Where is the general now?
Rallying the troops.
And then it's on to Fort Duquesne, I assume?
Eventually. The march north will surely take time. There's a copy of the plans in the command tent should you wish to review them.
At least this will be ended soon.
I tried, John.
I know, my friend. I know.
That map will surely be of use. I need to find it.
Okay. So I need to go up there. Need to wait for these guys to pass. Wait for him to turn his head and I can go ahead and sabotage that cannon. Okay. escape the zone. A little bit easier said than done here. Can I go over here? Yes, okay. Is there a spot I can jump on? Okay. Look at that. Successful. Alright, need to get to Zio.
What news?
Braddock has left to rally his troops. They're marching on Fort Duquesne. It'll be a while yet till they're ready, which gives us time to form a plan.
No need. We will ambush them here near the river. Go and gather your allies. I will do the same. I will send word when it is time to strike.
Okay, so I need to kill Braddock. I'm a little confused as to why we're killing Braddock. I guess the implication here is because he is enslaving the Mohawk, which, I mean, as a moral reason, is a very good one. But like, first off, I'm not, or at least it seems to be burning their villages. There's implied expeditions, quote unquote, which is generally a parlance for marches into the interior of like quote unquote Indian country. Normally burning villages along the way. So like Washington actually does one of these called the Sullivan Expedition, or authorizes one of these rather, that ends up burning several different Iroquois villages during the Revolutionary War, because again at that point the Iroquois basically split over the question of the revolution. So that seems to be the reason why. I just find it interesting because it seems like okay, so Hatham is doing that on the one hand to help out Zio, and hoping that by doing so Zio will help him with, okay, and then Zio will help him find the magic mystical MacGuffin place. Okay, I think I have my head around what's going on. There just seems to be a lot of moving pieces here, which, okay. Again, I know this part is thrilling, but this could be a good chance to actually talk about like what we've kind of just taken inventory of what we've seen so far. So, again, we are at this point a year in to the 7 Years' War, more or less, about in 1755. This is a very costly war for the British as well as the French. Again, New France has greater holdings in terms of landmass than Great Britain really does on continental North America at this time. However, France has not really settled its colonies the way that the British have along the eastern seaboard. New France, predominantly, which is modern day like Canada and the upper Midwest, so Indiana, kind of where I'm recording from now, would have been part of what was called, what historians kind of call the middle ground, which is basically referring to this kind of like place in which neither the French nor the indigenous Algonquian peoples in the area had the upper hand. There's a lot of mutual misunderstanding between them, but like relative, not peace. The French were trying to basically adhere enough to indigenous customs to form to allow them to basically continue with trade, the fur trade specifically. Meanwhile, indigenous peoples had their own understanding of what trade was and what it meant, namely they understood to be a diplomatic endeavor. So a lot of misunderstanding, but generally not too, we would say, brutal. There was kind of a hands-off approach by the French to a lot of indigenous peoples. And as a result, they have a lot of French indigenous allies in the area. The British, meanwhile, have been practicing a basically expulsion of a lot of indigenous peoples. They also had indigenous allies in British North America, but they had definitely been expanding westward and displacing people and building settlements, normally through war and violence, pretty consistently. The French had been too. I don't want to paint the French as benevolent here, but their system was a bit different. And essentially this becomes a war over territory. Again, England and France had been at war for decades prior. I mean, they had been fought earlier in the 18th century with Queen Anne's War. So warring between the French and the British in the colonies is nothing new. But this is one of the larger scale wars that manifest, or the largest actually, between, I think, French and the British on continental North America.
The cold, cold ground.
Here, here.
Hard at work, I see.
How did you...
It is time. We've set up camp to the north. Meet me there.
Gentlemen, let us away.
Okay.
First it was too cold. Now it's too goddamn hot.
And humid too. It's a
Wait.
right swamp, I tell you.
This is interesting here, because it's...
To say nothing of the mosquitoes.
Wait, where are we right now? Like, in terms of the colonies. Okay. I guess still where we were. Did time pass?
Warm weather and bugs are soon to be the least of our worries.
I was under the impression we were about to ambush Braddock in the immediate term. This is a different season altogether.
Where's your boy Lee gone off to?
Returned to finish out his service under Braddock.
I'm so confused.
I imagine the Bulldog's none too pleased after the stunt we pulled.
Huh.
Pleased to spin a tale of my incompetence and beg forgiveness. He has a way with words, especially when it comes to flattery. I expect he'll be welcomed back with
I
open
don't know if you can
arms.
hear, but there's like Dune music playing, like, ha. I don't know what that is supposed to be in the background here. That's so odd to me.
Precisely.
Unless you've underestimated our enemy.
All right, let's see here.
I see you've been busy.
All these men are from many different tribes, united in their desire to see Braddock sent away. The Abenaki, the Lenape, the Shawnee.
And you? Who do you stand for?
Myself.
What would you have me do?
Will you help the others to prepare? Follow. They come.
Everything all
There's
right,
Washington.
Sir? Just savoring the moment. No doubt, many wonder why it is we've pushed so far west. These are wild lands, as yet untamed and unsettled. But it shall not always be so. In time, our holdings will no longer suffice. And that day is closer than you think. We must ensure our people have ample room to grow and further prosper, which means we need more land. The French understand this and endeavor to prevent such growth. They skirt around our territory, erecting forts and forging alliances, awaiting the day they might strangle us with the noose they've built. This must not come to pass. We must sever the cord and send them back. This is why we ride. To offer them one last chance. The French will leave. Or they will die.
Okay, this is interesting to portray Braddock as, I think it's fair to say, like a evil mustache twirling haha villain.
Must ensure that Braddock falls, else he's sure
I mean,
to try
Braddock's,
again.
you know, I'm not trying to defend Braddock here. You know, I don't know enough about him, honestly, to be an apologist for him.
The perfect cover
but
for
it
me
just
to deliver
seems
the
a bit
killing
over
blow.
the top, if I'm being honest with you. Also, he's kind of talking about, like, American expansionism in a way that's interesting. It's very kind of, you know, almost 19th century. I mean, people were talking about American colonists wanted to expand. But
in front of us.
the way he spoke about it was it's more an element of competition, and like I guess he does a good job mentioning the French there, because the French were doing the same thing to a certain extent, right? Although their system was very much different. They were trying to get access to the fur trade and control the fur trade in the area. Not only that, but that was part of it. Okay, what do I need to do here, actually? Need to clear the scout camp. Okay. Oh, jump, duck down, duck down, duck down. Why are you ducking down?
Kill them!
Well, that didn't work. Okay. Honestly, the intense violence, unlike killing, makes a lot more sense when it's in the context of a war. You know what I mean? I can kind of naturally just kind of believe that a bit more easily. Okay, where am I headed? Ride to Braddock's position. Okay, I can do that.
How could anyone call this forest home?
With the French pushback, there'll be a lot of opportunities for us up north.
Huh. So that conversation right there, I think 5 is more indicative. That line, once we push the French back, there'll be a lot more opportunities for us up north. Well, a couple things. First and foremost, that's how some provincial troops would say. Provincial troops would be guys like George Washington, who actually we may be able to see here. I can't tell with the art. Not there. But the provincial troops are basically mustered in from local colonial militias and organizations, and basically they're regulars. They're fighting alongside the British regular army, but they were from the colonies themselves. Most of the British regulars, however, or a lot of them, were shipped over from Britain. The provincial troops were the reason the colonies, as I understand it. So as a result, I mean, it's interesting because, like, that line, oh, once the French are, if we push back, we have so many opportunities. A provincial troop might think that. The British regular probably would more be thinking, I can't wait till this is done. I can leave the colonies and go back to Britain. Uh-oh.
I'll not tolerate doubt amongst those I command, nor sympathy for the enemy.
Okay, so yeah, portraying Braddock as an evil mustache-twirling villain executing
Not
his
so
own
fun
soldiers.
on the other end of the barrel, is it?
Okay.
Look out!
What? Who's this supposed to be? Oh, okay.
Sir. Where are you off to, Edward?
Okay, so now... Yeah, I don't recall Braddock ever having a reputation as being a coward. So I kind of don't really know what this is. This is kind of... part of me, little tinfoil hat here, is that the team that makes this is Canadian, from Montreal, and so I'm wondering if they're really pro-French in the French anymore, because they're portraying Braddock as being the one committing all these terrible atrocities, and the French are just, you know, not even here. I haven't seen any French troops, I don't think, in any of this, which is actually pretty funny. Again, it's also called the French and Indian War, so there should be a lot more French present. Okay.
I never took you for a coward, Edward.
Come on, then! Such arrogance. I always knew it would be the end of you.
Oh, there's Washington as his provincial garb, excuse me.
Don't. Hurry before he gets away! I said go!
I don't deserve this! You're a hypocrite, Hatham!
I'm sorry, Edward, but you forced my hand.
Okay, I think they want me to do this and then, like, jump onto him, probably. Oh, maybe not.
I've done it!
But I just kick him? Why did he kick him? Why wouldn't he... Why wouldn't he use his blade? Why did he just kick him down?
Why?
That's very funny. Sorry.
Your death opens a door. It's nothing personal. Well, maybe it is a little personal. Been a pain in my ass, after all.
But we are brothers in arms.
What did they fight in?
Once, perhaps. No longer. Do you think I've forgotten what you did? All those innocents slaughtered, and for what? It does not engender peace to cut your way to resolution.
Wrong. Whether we applied the sword more liberally and more often, the world would be a better place than it is today.
In this instance, I concur.
So, I actually do appreciate in the old school Assassin's Creed, like the first one, every time you would assassinate someone, they'd have a spiel about, like, why what they were doing made sense to them. And I actually really like that. I think that's very interesting. It makes these villains more believable. That's not a great example of it, because he's just kind of like,
It's done.
killing people's good. I don't know what that was about, but some of them were actually pretty interesting.
Now I've upheld my part of the bargain. I expect that you will honor yours.
Follow me.
Okay. Time to go to the magic cave place. Oh, it glows green too. These were always the parts of the games that I liked the least, was the supernatural elements to them. Although the how fast Hatham reloads a Queen Anne's pistol is
No.
pretty supernatural.
No.
You seem disappointed.
I thought that I held a key that would open something here.
This room is all there is.
I expected more. What do they mean?
It tells the story of Yotzitzizu, who came into their world and shaped it for what life might come. She had a hard journey, fraught with great loss and peril. But she believed in her children and what they might achieve. And though she is long gone from the physical world, her eyes still watch over us. Her ears still hear our words. Her hands still guide us. And her love still gives us strength.
You have shown me great kindness, dear. Thank you. I should go.
So relationships between British officers, British colonists, French colonists, and indigenous peoples was by no means uncommon. It is complicated because a lot of times there are power dynamics at play there. For instance, many times it would be difficult to formally marry indigenous peoples. You couldn't marry if they weren't converting or becoming what would have been called in the 17th century a quote-unquote praying Indian. This would have been someone who had basically quote-unquote assimilated to British culture and society. Additionally, the French were trying to do the same thing with Catholic missions, the Jesuits in the north. And so marriage could happen and did happen. Far more often and more common probably would have just been, connections or like sexual encounters, romantic encounters, oftentimes extramarital encounters too, if there were, between officers, and also sexual violence that would have also been taking place. But romantic or physical connections between British colonists and indigenous peoples would have been commonplace. That said, so all that big preface, it is also important to mention that like sometimes it has been historically, I think, also emphasized too greatly in the sense of a lot of people say, oh, we all have indigenous ancestry, or we all have some connection to indigenous peoples. That's not often true, and it often is used as a way to kind of shield against a lot of the historic injustices perpetrated against indigenous peoples. Is this kind of hand waving like, oh, we all just intermarried. That's not really accurate. Connections did happen. There are many people who were of indigenous and European descent, but most people were not, by a vast margin in the British colonies. Most British colonies were populated by Europeans or people of African descent, especially in the southern colonies. And then there were also people of indigenous descent during this early period, but again, intermarriage is not, let's say, a regular occurrence. And obviously, I'm not saying, again, Hatham is marrying here. A lot of, depending upon the societies, a lot of indigenous peoples had different approaches to marriage and child rearing. And so just keep that in mind. But yeah, all this to say that this kind of scenario could very well have happened. I mean, not the magic stone that glows and the alien technology stuff in a cave, of course, but a British aristocrat on the frontier, or whoever Hatham is, and an indigenous person, that definitely could be. I went the wrong way. Something that could and did happen. Long-winded answer there, but I just wanted to kind of speak to that for a minute. Okay, let's see if we can move things along here. Okay, I don't know why he has to parkour through there. I always think of the Office hardcore parkour bit whenever he does that, but a lot of my students are probably too young to get that reference because the Office is becoming more and more archaic.
Master Kenway, did you find it then?
It was not the right place.
The others are waiting for you.
Gentlemen, please sit.
Okay, debrief time.
I fear our temple was no more than a painted cave. Although it did contain precursor images and script, which means we are close.
Not close enough, it seems.
We need to redouble our efforts and expand our order and establish a permanent base here. Although the site eludes us, I am confident we will find it.
Truth.
Hear, hear. Furthermore, I believe it is time we welcome Charles into our fold. He has proven himself a loyal disciple and served unerringly since the day he came to us. He should be able to share in our knowledge and reap all the benefits that such a gift implies. Are any opposed? Very well. Charles, come, stand. Do you swear to uphold the principles of our order and all that for which we stand?
I do.
And never to share our secrets nor divulge the true nature of our work?
I do.
And to do so from now until death, whatever the cost?
I do.
Then we welcome you into our fold, brother. Together, we will usher in the dawn of a new world, one defined by purpose and order. Give me your hand. You are a Templar. May the Father of Understanding guide
What a
us.
twist!
May the Father
I do remember that part.
Guide us. Wait, what?
So for those of you who don't know, the Templars are like the historic enemies of the Assassins. So this was a big twist, I remember, when I was first watching it, because in all the other games you always play as an assassin. Always. Fighting against the Templar, like, evil big bads. And in this, they had you play as a Templar starting out. And here's Desmond waking up into the real world.
You all saw that, right?
I'm going to go ahead and...
Wow.
Well, indeed.
Yeah.
The key must be the amulet Hatham took from London.
We might know what it looks like, but we're no closer.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and skip all this.
Desmond, you need to keep going.
I don't really. I'm so sorry if you're interested in this. You can go watch it on YouTube, but we're gonna kind of move things forward. Yeah, that's actually a good stopping point. So thank you all very much for your time and attention, and we will start things up with episode 4 here coming up for Historian Reacts to Assassin's Creed 3. Okay. And thank you all very much. All right.